With that, I'll keep it short and brief and introduce the wonderful Tiffany To, who is our Head of Enterprise and Platform here at Atlassian. And Tiffany, I'll let you take it away.
Hey, everyone. I'm sure you guys took advantage of all the amazing content yesterday. My favorite part, though, was just getting a chance to meet so many of you. I really appreciated the really candid conversations that we've had, a lot of honest feedback. That's what we're here for. I know there's a lot of changes that we've been presenting, and we're in this together, so keep all that feedback coming for us. So I actually started with Atlassian about 5 years ago on the product side. So I headed up our Agile and DevOps portfolio. But when I got started, I was meeting with a lot of customers and hearing about what they wanted from our products. And what I heard from them was that they wanted us to step up. They wanted us to do more than what the products were doing. They wanted us to solve bigger challenges with ideating and building and delivering these products because they didn't just want the planning and tracking, they wanted to be able to do it better or faster, right? They also wanted us to figure out how to help them with collaboration, not just within the dev teams, which we know are super important, but across the entire company. How do we collaborate as a whole? They were also telling me it's really hard to figure out how to integrate your products with all the other products and tools that we have to use to build this system of work. And I know you guys have been hearing a lot about that system of work. And what that really stands for is Atlassian's kind of, I think, maturation. Like, we've built these great products, and now we have to think about how do we level up. And what I came to the conclusion of was that it was going to require Atlassian to invest a lot in our platform. And that's really what took me to my next role, which is now heading up our enterprise and our platform teams. Now, when people ask, what's the definition of a platform? You're probably going to get 100 different answers, right? But when you ask, how do I measure the success of a platform, what I find is people tend to converge on one definition. They all tell me that platforms, what they do is they multiply value, right? And whether it's leveraging the same platform components or trying to unify how data flows in a system or powering an ecosystem of thousands of apps, a good platform is constantly generating new value in a multiplicative way. But to do that successfully, one of the defining characteristics that enables a platform to multiply that value is extensibility. Because platforms, they don't stand alone, right? They create this foundation for others to come and create innovation and build new solutions. And that's really core to our DNA at Atlassian. Since the days of Jira Server, when we opened our source code to outside developers, including many of you here today, and invited you to co-create that value along with us. But as we've grown into cloud, the journey looks different, right? In a multi-tenant environment, we obviously can't just share the source code like we used to. And we're still learning how to do this well. And like I said earlier, all that feedback from so many of you has been critical for us to continue that journey. But extensibility in cloud, as you've heard in the last day, that presents its own exciting new possibilities for us to consider. Partners used to have to provide a package to the customer to upload or host your own web services, but now Atlassian can host those cloud apps, right? And that means any developer, including customers, can start building their own apps and deploy it to Atlassian really easily. And as the Atlassian Cloud Platform continues to mature and we make all of those platform investments, like we've been showing you, that means you're going to be leveraging extensibility in a very different way. Not per product, but connecting into the platform, as you heard yesterday with Rovo for AI and our Teamwork Graph. And as you heard yesterday with the system of work, we're defining clear white spaces where ecosystem apps are going to contribute to those solutions to drive more effective teamwork for customers in every domain and industry. But as we ideate all these new opportunities, which are obviously very exciting, let's also stop for a moment to reflect, right, on the thriving developer community that we've built together over the years. Because today's ecosystem of apps is really incredible, right? Built by all of you in the marketplace, as well as our customers. There are over 21,000 active developers in our community forums, and more than 6,000 apps are available through the Atlassian Marketplace. Our ecosystem is really special, and why this is so impressive is when you think about the over 300,000 customers that we serve, very few of them, right, I talked to a lot of them, very few of them have tens of thousands of developers. But they get to lean on the power of all of you, of this huge developer community. And I think that's what makes this so special. And speaking of that innovation and the 6,000 apps in our marketplace, 1,150 are already Forge apps, which is remarkable considering that Forge apps could only be listed in the marketplace starting in 2021. And as you can hear, we're making it easier and easier for you to do that. So we see the pace for this happening so much faster than it has been in the past for Connect apps. And we look forward to it speeding up even more with all of those roadmap investments that Tim shared yesterday. Because nearly 500 new developers try Forge every month. And that's this community here, embracing the change, getting stronger, and bringing your ideas to life on our cloud platform. And all these apps, they're solving real business problems for our end users. And that's so clear when I talk to customers. They're emphatic that apps complete the solutions that they need for their businesses. And when we look at that app usage, sorry, I think we've lost the slides. Almost. Yep, there we go. Okay. And when we look at app usage and the thriving app businesses in our marketplace, the numbers show that. I mean, look at this statistic. On average, customers are installing apps over 836,000 times. How many ecosystems are able to do this? Very, very few. Now, that's 1.6 apps installed every minute, for those of you quick at math. And in the time you'll spend in this session, customers will have installed 100 apps. That's amazing. And we know all this demand, it powers thousands of businesses, both big and small, in our marketplace. In 2024, the marketplace topped $4 billion in lifetime sales. That's stunning. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah. And what's even more, I think, stunning to me is the number we don't see here, right? It's the value that all of your apps are generating for our customers, right? From the multitude of solutions that they complete for them. And that's why we want even more customers to be able to adapt these apps more easily. And you heard about us bringing additions and license decoupling and more to unlock those opportunities. And the opportunity ahead is even bigger. Now, as we shared in our Atlassian quarterly earnings last week, there's an $18 billion annual revenue opportunity just within our existing customer base with first-party apps. And $14 billion of that is in enterprise. And it's important to keep those numbers in mind because the market dynamics of who you guys are building apps for, it's shifting very significantly. In Q2, we closed a record number of deals greater than 10K at Atlassian. So we're now up to 50,000 customers that are transacting at those higher rates. And many of them are coming from enterprise. And we're going to strengthen that go-to-market motion for enterprise to boost this growth even more. Because even though 85% of the Fortune 500 are Atlassian customers, they represent only 10% of our business today. So to go after this enterprise opportunity, we're going to be investing a lot more in marketing, in sales. We're going to be leveling up the Atlassian brand. We're going to be building mind share with a lot of C-level executives. But to realize this full opportunity, we need your help, right? Because enterprises demand much more advanced solutions, right? And so that is going to make apps even more critical to the business partnership that we have together. And many of these customers, they're in the process of upgrading to cloud right now. So it's a great opportunity for you to think about not just them moving datas or workflows, but actually transforming those workflows. Just last quarter, we closed some really big deals like Citigroup, Apple, T-Mobile. They drove a really large % of the new seats that are coming to cloud. But as you can imagine, security is so critical to all of these customers. And that's why we need your partnership to adopt Forge and enable the highest levels of data security in cloud for these enterprises. That's going to be a really critical piece of this. But you've got a wave that you can catch, right? In all businesses, AI is now reformulating how work is done and who does that work. As Karthik showed us yesterday, with the automotive examples, customers need us to help them map these new approaches in their current system of work to unlock this better and faster collaboration. They're constantly reaching out for help. And they're looking for us to take, these core tasks, the ideating, the aligning work to goals, the planning and tracking that work across their whole company, sharing knowledge. Those core tasks, they don't go away, right? They still need to happen. But now these core tasks are happening with humans in concert with new agentic approaches. It unlocks new potential in speed and innovation and quality. But a critical first step to any AI strategy is how to realize the full value of data contained across the business to power these workflows. Every single conversation I have with these customers, they know that they've got to do AI, but then when you talk to them about, is your data organized? Are you able to aggregate it across all these tools in your system? Can you make sense of it? Because otherwise, these agents aren't going to be able to have that context. Very few of them have made those investments. And that's what makes the Atlassian platform and the Teamwork Graph so important. Because the Atlassian platform in cloud, it happens to house some of the most important information for a tech-driven organization. We know their teams, we know their goals, we know their work in Jira, we have all the knowledge in Confluence, and this all comes together in the Teamwork Graph, right? And this graph approach is very similar to what you see at companies like Google and Meta, right? They've built these huge social graphs and proven that this type of approach works. But in some ways, their graph is quite structured and it's quite limited. We have the challenging task of building a graph that is going to be flexible enough to map the work in any organization. And that's also going to really rely on all of you, because we have all these core objects, but we're going to need to extend them. And that's why it's such a critical piece when you think about your app experience. Because when you're building an app on our platform now, you tap directly into this Teamwork Graph to power the AI experiences, the analytics experiences, the automation. It's a very different type of workflow we're able to create now. And we really need it to bring together not just our core first-party apps, but also the apps that are integrated in from the rest of the ecosystem. And our vision for this Teamwork Graph is that it builds this very complete picture of work across a customer's organization. Not just the first-party apps, as I mentioned, but also apps that come from customers in the ecosystem, from Google, Figma, Slack, et cetera, but data and insights from everywhere and every team. And as you saw yesterday, Forge is going to enable the developer community to build connected apps that extend and contribute data and insights back into the Teamwork Graph to unlock all those powerful Rovo agent capabilities, as Tim showed us in that demo, that weather forecasting example yesterday. So if you haven't made it to any of the Teamwork Graph sessions, please go and do that. Now, Atlassian's system of work portfolio of first-party apps is designed to meet the needs of both technology and business teams, right? Part of this concept of the system of work is framing the breadth of the portfolio, right? Really explaining to customers that we understand the message that they've given us, which is, your tools are great for the dev teams, but we need to bring the entire company together. But the developer ecosystem is really key in this story, because that's what really completes a system of work solution. Because as we go to horizontal use cases and verticals, they're going to need your apps. Think through MarTech for marketing teams, patient engagement for healthcare, workforce management for HR. I'm super excited to see how many of you take on this white space with innovative apps that help our customers build the best system of work for their organizations. And how do we innovate as product leaders? As I said earlier, we have to go talk to customers, right? And Atlassian customers are using apps in so many amazing ways that continue to surprise me, serving so many unique use cases to drive better outcomes for their organizations. And they aren't just using apps, they're also builders themselves now, right? They're creating their own solutions in Forge. So what I'm gonna do now is have us switch gears a little bit. My goal there was just kind of recap. Hopefully, you guys are gonna take advantage of deeper dives today into the teamwork graph and Rovo, et cetera. I mean, I know I'm asking a lot of you guys, but when I meet with these enterprise customers, they're ready for it, right? I think in the past, the conversation has been, should we move to cloud? Is it really the right time? What's the business value proposition? That conversation has changed a lot because now that they know AI is here, they've got to transform those workflows. They've got to tap into that data. And so they really, really do need our help. And so to do that, like I said, we've got to start talking to customers and going deeper into the solutions that they need. So I'm really excited to welcome CD PROJEKT RED to the stage. They've got some really exciting role-playing games that have won over 1,300 awards, 80 million copies. Is anyone familiar with them? Any of their games? Raise your hand if you played. Yeah? Okay. So please help me welcome Bartosz, Wojciechowski, and Jakub Sochacki to the stage. Come on up. Thanks, guys. So clearly, a lot of people have played your game.
Wow.
They were worried. They were like, maybe there's only going to be like one person. I'm like, this is your demo. If these guys are not the ones playing
we know
the
about
game.
one, so someone told
Thanks
us.
for having us here. And
No, thank you so much for sharing. Like I was saying, I'm asking these teams to do a lot more, right? We're asking people to ideate lots of apps. And I think for me as a product leader, the best way to think about innovation is to like go deep with a customer and really understand. So maybe we can start by maybe Bartosz, share a little bit of your journey, because you guys have been using Atlassian tools for a long time. You've adopted various apps over the years. What has that journey looked like for you?
Like I started many years ago. There was a part of me being the solution partner. Currently, I'm also the Atlassian community leader, so I make plenty of stuff with Atlassian, and it always was quite a trip. It was always challenging stuff, but also very satisfying. It's like delivering the best possible solution for the customers and customizing it and doing the stuff that they need. That's something that this is very exciting for me to work with the ecosystem.
And from the company perspective, like CD PROJEKT is working for over 20 years. We started with the small team, small instance, and 2 years ago we migrated to cloud and establishing ourselves on the new environment. Yeah.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about the size of the organization. How many developers and other folks are having to collaborate in these systems?
So currently we have around 1,200 people.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of them are developers, but we have plenty of team responsible for publishing, for marketing, for events, for many other, let's say, side quests, as we would say in games, around our business.
And how did you get started with Marketplace apps? So you started with our products 20 years ago. That's a very long time. How did you determine what gaps you needed to fill, and like how did you become aware of different apps?
Sure. So basically, the game development industry is very diverse, very different from the regular software companies. And basically, our needs are kind of different. Each of the game dev company works with the quests or the side stories or maybe the assets with the objects available in the game in a different way. So that's the technical or the need part. Also, we have like plenty of very creative people, and they need to work in the precise way. So basically, this is the two topics that basically push us into let's find the best possible solution for them. So for the business users, usually the reporting one is important, and the first plugin that I think about it is the rich filter. And from our perspective, deliver the best workflows and the boards and the processes is the script runner. This is the stuff that we usually do, and that's the first plugin that we think about when customizing. But basically, the needs of the developers, of the producers, and the processes, that's something drive us into the changes in the process.
And I think that's quite common with many customers as they mature their usage of the products, right? They end up needing to manipulate the data, so rich filters makes a lot of sense. And then a huge percentage of customers use Script Runner because of the automation of the workflows.
Sure.
As you build this kind of end-to-end pipeline for the amazing ideation of games and building those workflows, how do you think about the goals for the company? Because obviously, usage is probably a main goal, but how do you drive innovation? Because these games, I think, are built over many, many years, right?
Well, yeah, because in general, game development is quite a specific area of IT. And it's because we mix technology with large, area of creativity and artists. And probably each company has its own specifics, but when we talk about games like ours, when the development process takes a few years, we need to really put a lot of focus into innovation, because we do not ship our titles every year, every month. We ship our titles every few years. So we need to really be sure that every new game brings something fresh to the table. And from the perspective of technology, like mechanics, gameplay, and so on, and from perspective of the creativity, like narration, design, and so on. So to be sure that we can deliver this innovation to the players, we need to look on both sides. I mean, the games itself, but also the process how we develop these games. From our perspective as Atlassian guys, we focus mainly on the process, as we try to support our developers to make those games. And I believe, if I would say how we are driving innovation, having in mind we are work with Atlassian tools, is like first, it's very important for us to need what is possible, what tools are available, what apps are available, how apps may support our business, so we know what we can play with. And on the other hand, is following closely our business clients to deeply understand how our developers are looking on the development process, how they are looking on the pipelines, so we can adjust our environment to their needs and not the other way around.
That makes a lot of sense. And as you're evaluating, like you said, all the tools and the apps that are available, and you're constructing this pipeline and trying to make it efficient, what level of customization or have you had to do to make this all kind of fit together?
As I mentioned before, the developers in the company are basically creative people. So the communication within the organization is rather casual, not that formal. So basically, emails are dead. We basically use the Slack, and this is something that most of the people like in the company. So we decided to make the integration or maybe some sort of customization within the JSM related to pushing notifications from the JSM to the Slack, and we've done it with the script runner. And basically, we control everything about the communication. The format, the frequency, the content of it is basically up to us and up to our customers what type of communication they would like to have in their particular need.
And this is a great example, because from the high-level perspective, I believe we share experience with all companies who migrated from on-prem Jira to cloud. As cloud is great, but it offers kind of the standardized experience. And we were used to Jira Server, which gave us a lot of possibilities to customize solution to our needs. And now we are, let's say, bridging this gap with apps, with features like automations, to get closer to what we knew on server, where we are now, and where we would like to be in future.
Is it accurate to summarize then that before a lot of that customization you were responsible for doing yourselves on Jira Server, but as you move to cloud, part of that kind of benefit is offloading that, right? So you're thinking through what's the best workflow, but you really want the platform and the apps to kind of make it easier to now stitch those workflows and provide that customization.
Definitely, I would see our roles more than developers before in Jira Server than to architects using available tools to deliver a solution.
I love that. So from developer on-prem and now to architect, So then obviously key to that is extensibility, right? Because to do that architecture, you need a lot of the platform to be extensible. So maybe tell me a little bit about what's important to you when it comes to extensibility for your workflow.
If I may start, because
Sure.
Yeah.
from my perspective, extensibility is like, to put long story short, we all work in a bit different manner. We have, as I said, plenty of developers. We have marketing teams, we have publishing teams, we have creative teams, different people working with different tools. And extensibility for me is the possibility to support them as they need to be supported. So this is what I mentioned, to not try to make people work as platform would like them to work, but to adjust platform to their work. And as I mentioned, apps and automations, there's tools which are deeply using for this purpose. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Did you want to add?
The extensibility.
Yeah.
Sure. So, as an example, also of stuff that we would like to make the platform working in the way that we would like to work, not adjust our work to the platform. So basically, we need to pay a lot of attention to the security. So we work with our partners, but usually, the game dev is very sensitive area. So we need to keep our information, internal information, very, very confident, like the characters, the quests, the storylines. I mentioned it a little bit before, but also the marketing campaign, release dates. All of the stuff need to be kept in the secret for a very long time and need to be released in the moment that we control it. So we integrated our Jira with our partners Jira. So we basically work in our own environment, and the platform and the system is supporting us to do it, and our platforms of the partners are also working in their way. They need to do and they need to work. So we keep each other, toys in each other, boxes, but basically we still cooperate with the other companies. So this is the goal, the situation that we are totally comfortable with, that we have our own environment, not shared with the external customers.
No, given how important the IP is and kind of building up the excitement for a new game, like that security is critical. So that data management you're talking about probably makes Forge attractive to you, as we're investing more in ensuring that we are supporting the highest levels of cloud security.
Well, everything which supports data protection is attractive to us. Just being straight, every IT tool, every solution, every app, every add-on, everything we use in our systems before we even start a trial must go through the verification of our internal IT team, internal security team, legal team. So we cannot even test solution before it's green-lighted. And if we don't know the vendor, we don't know the plugin, and the plugin is not a part of any Atlassian security programs, any other security programs, this verification may take longer and longer and longer. Sometimes it's easier for our team to look for an alternative solution, how to solve the problem, than wait for endless verification or to enter negotiation on the legal arguments, for example. So this issue about a run on Atlassian badge, for me, from my perspective as a person responsible for a whole instance, this is very attractive. Because even from the statistical standpoint, for myself, having too many companies handling with our potentially confidential data is just statistically higher risk of data leaks or data loss. So yeah, definitely Forge and run on Atlassian sounds fun.
Well, fun in the sense that it sounds like it gets you through all those security checks a lot faster.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I think that's what we've heard very consistently from enterprise customers as well. But I think you guys saw yesterday, there's a lot that's coming to Forge. So as a customer, right, how are you guys thinking about Forge? Is it a platform that you want to build your apps on alongside adopting apps from the marketplace?
Like me personally, as an expert, as a guy who is doing stuff, I'm totally excited about it. I mentioned before that I used to be the solution partner, and it was always fun, entertaining, and exciting about the pushing boundaries of Jira, and the on-prem mainly. Where is the border of how much we can push it together with the customer to fit their needs? And basically, the first plugin that we've been thinking about back in the days, and to be honest right now, is the script runner. So with a little bit of the technical knowledge with the scripting, you can do plenty of stuff. And right now, when I look at the Forge, I think that this is something as a new era of the customization, because when I look at the deploying application and how much integrated it can be, this is something that excites me the most as a technical person. As I can imagine like the plenty of customers and our business also being driven by the change of the Forge and delivering even the small applications that perfectly fit their needs. This is something that is totally awesome for me.
Well, that's awesome to hear. And I think as you're describing these the technical workflows that you can start to build in Forge, what we've been talking about a lot is the system of work. And part of that is the marriage between the way that your company works, right? Which is more the culture and the teams and the ways of working, and then mapping that to the technical workflows, right? And that's why we've invested so much in making the teamwork graph flexible. So maybe share a little bit more about kind of your unique system of work. I think you talked a little bit about like you guys don't email, everything is done on Slack, and so you have to really orient the tool set around Slack and notifications, like people just work in just a fast loop. But maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, development of large open world game is like complex process. It's like 400 of developers, plenty of teams in marketing, plenty of teams in publishing and or other areas of the company. So all those people use different tools, different workflows, and sometimes they look at the same things, but from different perspectives. So we have, me personally, I love Jira plans. I work a lot in Jira plans. It helps me to keep transparency, to manage work. It's great. But that's having said, that's about me. And whole company is using dozens of different systems we have engine for the game development, we have IT programming tools, we have marketing tools, design tools, we have legal tools, we are on Slack, on Miro, on Google Suite. There's plenty of other tools which are sharing sometimes similar informations. And from my perspective, within our system of work, the great challenge and ambition is to ensure that the information is consistent across all those tools. I really like this example about automotive company from yesterday's keynote. It's exactly what we are facing. I mean, different system, different people working in different system because this is their work, and still need to have one consistent source of information.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you address that today? Are you integrating those tools in manually? Are you leveraging apps? How are you trying to connect that together?
That's the story time. So basically a little bit of backstory of how we try to connect the stack that we all mentioned, basically. In the company we were still working with something called the transition week. So once every couple of months, so plenty of sprints, the whole development team stops for a week, and the developers focus on playing the game as in the state that it is currently. So that they're checking the product of their work for a couple of weeks or months already, and the management team, manage and plan for the upcoming challenges and another milestone. So we need to imagine that we need to put in around one table, people from various specific branches of the company. So on the one table we see the producers, we can see hair physics specialist, we can see the explosion specialist, we can see people responsible for modeling the best possible swords, and the QA team, for example. And they need to figure it out, all of the stuff, and usually they don't plan in Jira itself. They would like to do it as a creative people in some visual tool. So the Miro, mentioned before, is basically the mind map that they create. And we would like to, or maybe at some point we have it, we would like to have the integration between the best possible integration when the changes done in Miro are totally reflected in Jira. So they work on the Miro, and we have actionable time plan for the upcoming months and upcoming weeks and upcoming sprints. So we strongly believe that when we have this plan prepared with all of the people, there will be fewer problems and fewer roadblocks, and the work will be going way smoother than in the situation that we need to go manually and change everything between the tools. So there's this seamless integration when people basically don't know where they are working, but everyone is on the same page. This is the level of integration that we would like to have.
I love that. And that's our aspiration for the system of work. But I think it's going to need a lot of help from, I think, the marketplace to do that, because I think we do have integrations like with Miro, but they could go a lot more deep, right? Because I think what you're talking about is you don't want there to be any seams between people working in the tools. You want that context to be shared. Besides Miro, are there other tools that are specific to game development that you guys have to integrate?
It's a lot of them. I just mentioned the engine for the game development. We have tools for QAs, especially for game development. We have design tools. I maybe not want to share all the names of the software, but there's a lot of different tools, and connecting all of them is for sure a challenge. And I would like to really avoid hearing, okay, so I had a meeting held in Miro, or I have had a conversation on Slack, or I did my work in somewhere. Now I need to go update my Jira. So we would like to avoid this situation. We would like to Jira to somehow know that something happened somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So that automotive example that we showed yesterday,
exactly.
You'd like to have that happen. Okay, yeah. Well, I think you've got a big group of folks that can tackle that stack for you, because I think the theme that you shared earlier, I think, is important, which is when you think about that end-to-end solution, you guys want to architect it. You don't want to spend time building integration. So you'd really like apps and the platforms really fill in that gap.
And we are really thankful that those guys are here. I mean, that there is a great pool of apps we can look for and search things which suits our the best. You know.
So maybe as we conclude, what else is on your wish list? Because you've got a captive audience here of developers, product managers, et cetera. So what would you guys like them to do?
How much time do we have? A couple of minutes?
This is why we have the notes for.
Plenty of.
No, I can share an example from like 2 weeks ago in our work. It's probably more business problem, but related to the Atlassian environment. Like we have this parent-child relation in Jira, and we have also the relation of linked issues.
Yes.
And for example, I'm marking that my work, my task, is blocked by other tasks. And I couldn't find a way how I can present a board, dashboard, or any other aggregated form to verify that, for example, 50% of tasks blocking my work are already done. And to do it in aggregated form for 100 tasks, to see, for example, percentage of being blocked by other work. And this is something which would help me, because we have crazy amount of dependencies within our teams, between our teams and between development teams. So monitoring if my team can start to work in this area or is still blocked, and why it's still blocked, is really important information.
Okay.
And for me, I would divide it into 2 groups, maybe.
And I would say, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Because maybe what I said, it's already possible to solve.
Well,
ring me the break.
Yeah, from after the break, yeah.
And I will divide it into 2 groups, like the internal and external one. Let's call it that way. Internal one will be for me, like any app that will, increase the level of control over our instance, like the possibility to maintain it and keep it as clean as possible, because all of us hopefully know about the good practices and how to make it as smooth and as clean and as fast as possible for the cloud instance also. So that will be my personal one to help me to maintain it in good shape. And the external one will be further extending the integration possibilities, make it as seamless as possible, make it as user friendly. So our customers, our developers, and the physics specialist, all of them, they need to be like not just working and focusing on the work and the stuff that they need to deliver, instead of struggling with the tool. This is something that is good, because when they do not struggle with the tool, they can focus on making games. And all of us want to have the best possible games at the moment of right now, on the moment of the premiere.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, that sounds like a great wish list. I suspect some of these capabilities might be out there. So
We will be somewhere around.
come find these guys. But thank you, Jakub and Bartosz, so much for making the time to give us a little insight into one of the coolest, I think, companies, one of our coolest customers. I think that it's a great way to kick off day 2. There's a lot of great content in store for you guys. So hopefully kind of from these conversations, you're getting a little bit of inspiration. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.